Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Round Bag Bets. Powered by BetSperts, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Andy Molitor. And to help us round out all this mess that's going on a Friday, Mr. Matt Rooney's in the house. I'll start with you, Matt. Did you watch that basketball game last night?
You know, I flipped to it after the hockey game was over, so I stayed on brand, but that was pretty much in time to watch the Warriors go on a big run in the third, and then the Celtics go on an even bigger run in the fourth, and that was, for two blowout quarters, a wildly entertaining basketball game. It was a lot of fun to watch.
It was good.
I may or may not have been at a casino and live bet the second period over in that hockey game with Golden State to win the first quarter.
Hey, down at Parks or what?
Your second period over hitting about 2 minutes, I think, if I remember correctly.
What are the locals there? Is it the Parks? Is that a thing? Or
there is Parks. Parks is about 45 minutes from there. That's actually where I did go. That's the nicest sports book probably in Pennsylvania. They do a really nice job there. They have some weird drink rules. They can only serve you a drink every 30 minutes or something, which is not to my liking, but you know. Nice chairs, and again, it was just nice to get a little bet there. So I too was watching a little bit of the hockey, and they had it on one of those curved screens, like on the corner.
Ooh, I like that.
Really, kind of a funky feel there. I mean, how about you, Andy? What were you watching?
Yeah, no, I had it like I'm not real big planner, but I do plan TV time very specifically. So I had to check.
That sounds about right.
Well, I had to check because the kids wanted to watch D3, which obviously the worst Mighty Ducks, but they're completists, and they'd seen the first two for the first time last week, and they wanted to watch the third one, which does suck, but it's still okay.
That's fine.
Figure out how long that was, make sure that got done. Before that, played a little Breath of the Wild, Zelda with the kids, and then just right into the game / looking at some golf stuff, and wildly entertaining. Hopefully we get more of these. And honestly, the hockey game was great too for somebody who's sitting on. I don't remember why I bet so much on it, but I have a bunch on Avalanche to win the Western Conference at, basically like a coin flip price. So I'm a fan of the lead they've taken in that series. Hopefully things continue as it heads to Calgary for 2, right?
Edmonton for 2 next. Yeah, close enough. Same province.
When I said Calgary, I meant Alberta. That's what I was trying to
province.
Say. Yeah, fuck it. It's all the same.
That one was interesting last night because Colorado kind of dominated game one. They got out that big lead, and then they tried to just sit back and protect it, which they shouldn't have done, which allowed Edmonton to come back. Last night, they dominated for just totally different reasons. They just decided they were going to control the pace and control the puck the entire game, and they did. And they got that offense in the 2-minute span, and the rest of the time was just not really quite playing keep away, but kind of playing keep away and daring Edmonton to come get the puck from them. They just kind of couldn't. Like, I don't know how much you guys watched with the NBA Finals on, but how often did you actually notice McDavid or Draisaitl on the ice last night? Not a whole lot, because Colorado just controlled play the entire time, and that's just how good they are defensively. They're so fast, so skilled with the puck that they were just kind of able to suffocate Edmonton in a completely different way than they did in game one, which was just shows you how dangerous they are.
They should just do that all the time, I guess.
I think they're going to try. I think they're going to try. That was clearly their strategy after game one. Their coach, Peter Bednar's name, was pretty much just like, yeah, we won, but like that's not sustainable. We need to be better on the other end. And they came out and gave their backup goalie a shutout. I think Edmonton combined for 11 shots in the last 2 periods.
It's good to try.
It is very similar to D3 because that team, the Ducks could score, and then the new coach at Eden Hall Academy said that you got
to pick up the trash. You got to clean up the trash.
Got to clean up the trash. This isn't Pee Wee hockey anymore. We're going to play two-way hockey. He really coached defense up. Charlie wasn't buying it, but he finally bought in. He got the bought in. Porter came back from Chicago, and sure enough, they beat the varsity. So,
the Western Conference Finals is D3.
Essentially,
that's our analysis on today's Brown Bag Bets.
It is D3. Speaking of D3, DQ, Dairy Queen. No, I am still a little mad about the DQ. I feel like I would have had a perfect day. I won all my other bets. The 2 that I gave out here yesterday won quite easily, honestly. I think the 3 matchups I bet won by a combined 17 strokes. If you throw out the one that lost by DQ, and then not only that, but it was against Patrick Reed, who shot 4 over yesterday. And it's not like Matsuyama was lighting the world on fire, but I feel like there was a chip chair and a chance he was going to be able to shoot +4 or better to get me the sweep. Either way, 3-1 yesterday. A couple are off already for those who are lucky enough to be in the members only Discord. Looks like they lead by 1 stroke after 15 and 2 strokes after 10. So hopefully I didn't jinx anything. Only one more on the card for the rest of the day. And it is a repeater of yesterday. This is the one I didn't talk about yesterday because obviously Thursday and Friday flip times on tees. So this was a morning tee time yesterday where Zal, I mean, you saw what he did. He was 1 off the lead, I believe. So he had a good day. Jason Day did not have a good day. I don't believe that's going to change despite the conditions changing a little. I just don't have these guys anywhere close to each other in my numbers. I would price this at like -170. And right now you're not getting near that on the money line, but I'm laying the half stroke. A lot of that, I'm not going to bore you with the math on how I decide to do that sometimes. It's not always just, oh, it's like -150. I'm going to lay the half stroke to cut the juice. It has to do with the best of the number I can find on that and the essentially a 3-way line like this. So I am laying it today. Zal minus a half stroke over Jason Day. The same one was priced at -107 yesterday. So they have increased it, but not enough for my liking. So I will be betting this one again. And they both tee off at 1:12 p.m. Eastern. So you have about an hour and a half if you want to play along with this one. And hopefully Zalatoris plays well again, because not only do I want him to win this, I have an outright on him, and he's only he's tied for third right now, stroke off the lead. So let's go Zal down in Muirfield, Ohio.
I can dig it.
Who thought the Rangers were going to win? I guess Rangers fans did. I don't know. Didn't watch a lick of that game. We got game 2 tonight. This is again in the Mecca?
In New York, Madison Square Garden at the Mecca.
So, you know what? Series hasn't started. The NBA series has started.
It's
this
true.
one has not started because
begun.
No one's won a road game. 21 games so far, Nadal Zverev. Yeah. Before we get to Madness NHL bets, I was really fucking mad at Zverev. God, he had that set a couple times. He had the 6-3 lead in the tiebreaker and just goes full Sasha. Killed some of my fun prop bets. If we could get another tiebreaker here, it's sitting at 26. A tiebreaker win for Zverev would all but guarantee over bettors getting home, but even a tiebreaker here would just be lovely. So let's go Sasha, and let's head to New York for Lightning Rangers game 2. It doesn't look like you bet anything here.
I bet a few things.
Back
3
to
picks
Tampa Bay.
3 picks, and I'm all on the Lightning tonight. I actually the money line when I first wrote my blog this morning around like 7:30, 8 o'clock was like -125, -128 for Tampa. It's already jumped up to -134. I'd imagine it's going to climb a little bit more. We hear this storyline after the Lightning lose any game in the playoffs. I think it's 18 consecutive playoff losses that they've now followed up with a win. They haven't lost back-to-back in that many in their last 18 playoff losses. So I fully expect them to come back and win, keep that going tonight. I like their team total over 2.5. You look at they obviously didn't lose in the Florida series. They swept that one. But if you look at the Toronto series, they lost that game 1 5-0. They came back and won 5-3. They lost game 3. Then they came back and won 7-3. They lost game 5, and then they came back and won game 6 4-3. So they went over 2.5, went over 3 in all of those, or at least 4 or more in all 3 of those bounce back games. All those overs, the lowest total you saw was 7. I know Igor Shesterkin's been playing really well, and I think he's going to play well tonight, but I think you see a motivated, ready Tampa team that kind of has – I hate the rest versus rust debate sometimes gets a little bit outdated, but I think we saw a little bit of rust from Tampa not having played for a while against a New York team that was riding a whole lot of momentum. So I think Tampa's going to go over their team total 2.5. I think they're going to win tonight. And I like that over 6 just because while Shesterkin's better than what we saw net for Toronto with Jack Campbell by a long shot, I still think the alt over, I think Vasilevsky has still allowed some goals in those Toronto games. I don't think he's going to completely go off tonight. I think New York's still going to get theirs because they're going to have some momentum at home. But I do think Tampa's going to win them. I think they're going to go over that 3.5, hit 4 mark maybe. 6 at +138. I really like those odds. And hey, last night the play for everybody was over 7 in Edmonton, Colorado. That was under by a long shot.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot of. I think the under 5.5 was like -130 tonight. So everybody's on the under. I actually kind of think that there's a little bit of a chance we see a little bit of a swing the other way and hit that over. And I decided why not jump over to an alt over and buy that hook, sell that hook. Excuse me.
Sell it.
Plus, I know Andy loves alt overs. That's kind of
I just love selling points, selling runs, selling strokes, selling stones. I did that once in a curling match where they had some reason there was an alt total in a curling match, which I'm sure you Canadians are used to that. But yes, the WTA, as Alex joked about in the tennis chat, has broken out a day early. This second set is a fucking mess. Like, has Rafa's 3-game wins are all on breaks of serve. There's only been one hold of serve in the second set. So we are 8 games deep with 7 breaks of serve. This is supposed to be a Grand Slam semifinal, and things have gotten sloppy here. So Sasha serving for the set now. This would be lovely for Leg Show Magazine, who has the over 37. Alex, you're sitting on what do you need? 36 plus the Nadal win? Uh-oh, I think you muted yourself. Oh no, look at him.
Oh no.
He's gone silent on me. I don't know.
I'm having flashbacks to the one time it was him and I hosting the show. And he was gone.
That?
I had to talk tennis. That was bad. Hey, we got you back.
There you go.
I was really hoping I didn't have to talk tennis there.
No, sorry about that. I guess I have to figure out something with my microphone. My computer doesn't like it from time to time. They're very touchy. I guess they're having like a bump in their relationship. But yeah, I was going to say, I thought we had a chance at a quote broken set, if you will. I cherish, and it's happened just once in my tennis following experience, that there were 12 breaks in a set, and I thought there was a chance here for a men's match to do it. But yeah, there was unfortunately a hold or two stuck in there. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, it looks like it's going to keep going over. It would be nice if Zverev won a set. That would make all of us, again, especially who's got over 37, their leg show, better about that.
Yeah, and then tomorrow actually we'll have some WTA, just one match, unless you count some ITF and low-level stuff, which even that's getting towards the end of those tournaments. But golf, Coco Gauff, this is hilarious actually. I'm gonna set this up. You have a 30, Matt, he has a 35-1 outright into the finals. And there's almost no way to make money off it with the finals being, he had a couple other outrights that lost, maybe a unit and a half worth. Have some outright exposure on Miss Schwertek, and it's about a break-even possibility here, which stinks. I said, fuck it, maybe it just opens you up to be able to bet a shitload on Iga money line.
Well, if he's got his Iga parlays, he should be okay. Then that's kind of like your hedge, right? You threw in a bunch of those.
Counting.
There's definitely a bunch of those, but I think it was just kind of staggering from like the mathematical exercise. And I'm going to do it right now real quick. I mean, what I showed Andy earlier was took into account some other outrights. Basically, it was I could lock in myself in like 0.2 units. But let's say that you just bet Iga, and you're trying to take a look at that and hedge. I mean, the most that I think you're going to be able to lock in is, a handful of units at the absolute most. It's just, it speaks to the math of how A, hard it is to hedge, and B, how hard it can be just to make money against somebody like this when they're playing this well. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's saying somebody, we talk about this a lot in the NFL. We talk about it in any sort of tournament form like this. Is it better to just do a rollover on the money lines for a series or a match, a game? And somebody asked me after the semifinals, what was the rollover to get to the final? And it was like minus 300. Like if you rolled over 6 matches, it still only came to minus 300. So not only has she been dominant, she had the path open up a little bit in a couple spots. So it was hard to make money.
Going down.
Yeah, congrats to the people who grabbed like 4-1s when we had our retirement a couple months ago. So those people are licking their chops for tomorrow's match.
We got all those. We got all our parlays, and I just did quickly look at it. If you had just bet, if you just bet Gauff, if you wanted to balance out your portfolio on Iga, you'd have to bet about 32 units on Iga today, and you would be able to lock in about a 3-unit profit.
What?
So if you have 35 units lying around, it's just, it's tough, man. It's tough when you get to these finals and they're minus 700. But we'll see. I mean, if there's anybody that has a chance, it's got to be one of these younger players who can somehow redline for a short period. I don't know if Goff is that player, but we'll see. Fingers crossed.
And break point it all.
I'm sitting on an Iga Avalanche parlay. Avalanche to win the cup, Iga to win the front. Should I try and hedge a little bit on Goff at all? Worth it?
Nah, because you don't know even if the Avalanche have won yet. You're kind of jumping in too early.
Yeah, you're just hoping for that Avalanche ticket to accrue some value. So, but yeah, tomorrow, what, 9, 10 Eastern? When does it start? It's morning. It's morning tennis for sure.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I'll get up. Honestly, I'll probably have a little bottle of Prosecco going, maybe do something like that to get myself started, and hope that I get to enjoy some tennis for a little while. It's usually early in the morning. I'm pulling up the start time right now, but I think we see what we've seen maybe the last couple matches here for Iga. Competitive first sets, and then she kind of takes care of business. This match does start at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Again, Coco has had a really nice tournament. She's been playing some good tennis. Now, there are a couple things that she does that is just not able to generate enough power on some of her defensive shots. Iga's going to have some really easy returns here at certain points, but I think we see a competitive set here. I have this closer to 9.5, and I was able to get first set here over 9 games, pretty close to even money, and that half game makes a big difference. I was thinking maybe looking at Goff +3. They even have had some +3.5, which is completely unseen in tennis, but it looks like it's 2.5. So going to make this bet. Looking at it again, expect it to be a competitive first set, and that's why I'm going with this instead of the full set over. Might look at some other things. I don't know if necessarily to be a tiebreaker. Might even look at over 10.5 games, which I didn't see a bunch of places. But I think, again, it'll be a nice, fun first set of tennis, and then maybe Goff gets the first set and things are interesting, but, if Iga takes that first set 6-4, 7-5, we've cashed our ticket and can lean back and enjoy the 6-1, 6-2 that's coming to follow.
Yeah, it does feel like, well, not only that, but being down a set in best of 3, it's very tough. Like, just as you sit down on the bench and try to picture yourself winning the next 2 sets off her, like, that has to break your brain. Like, I can't. When's the last time somebody won 2 sets off her? It's been.
We're up to about 41 matches now.
Yeah, we're starting to measure in months. So at this point, it's getting nasty for them out there. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, the first set is a little bit of fun, like you said. I don't want to get up and watch this and have it last like 62 minutes. I'd like a little bit of tennis to watch. Although golf will be starting shortly after that, and then we'll have some baseball. And that's where we're going next. That's why we kept Matt around this long. He's got some baseball bets today too. I think I'm opposite on one of these with Tony.
I do have one. You can tell me whichever one that is, and I probably won't necessarily say you're wrong because baseball betting has just been really hard to get a read on this year. One bet I am going to add is Noops' Phillies money line. They fired Joe Girardi today, I'm a big believer in the fired manager, coach, interim manager game. College football season rolls around. I'm betting that every time there's an interim head coach, we're back in the interim. I think Trout might be out tonight too. I know he got hit by a pitch in the elbow, and I think he might be out for a couple of days. Hopefully it's not a long stint because he's good for baseball. But if he's out and the Phillies have a new interim, they were the favorites, I think, on the money line, but we're taking them. And then the 3 on my card, I still had to find a way to get a White Sox bet in there, even though they're just absolutely horrible right now. Andrew Vaughn is somebody who hasn't been absolutely horrible right now or this season. He's actually been very good. There's a lefty on the mound. His splits are very good against lefties. He's should be hitting higher up in the lineup, but for some reason, Tony La Russa likes hitting him 7th or 8th, 9th sometimes for some ungodly reason nobody knows. But if he's hitting in the top of the lineup, he should get 4 or 5 looks at it tonight. And plus 2.5 total bases at +150. I really like that juice. That's why I took the number there. I'm going to guess this is what you have the opposite of me on there, Cubs Cardinals. I'm taking the under 8 -102, mainly because I checked the weather this morning and I saw there's at least supposed to be about a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing west, which means blowing in at Wrigley Field. And usually with these day games at Wrigley, if the wind's blowing out, you take the over. If the wind's blowing in, you take the under. It's also a pretty good pitching matchup. Miles Michaelis has been really good for St. Louis. Marcus Stroman, who started off terrible for the Cubs, had an ERA at like in the 8s after 2 or 3 starts, has gotten that back down into the 3s. So he's been a whole lot better. And I know the Cubs offense has been hitting pretty well lately, but I still don't really buy them as all that good. I think they're going to be up and down all year. So I like with the wind blowing in the under because the Cubs are a team that kind of relies on the long ball. And if they're hitting the ball out of the park, they're going to score a lot of runs. And if they're not, they're not going to score all that much. So I'm taking the Wind in that one. And then the Guardians -1.5 against the Orioles. Still getting used to that. They've won 4 of their last 5. They've won 4 of their last
baseball
5.
Team.
Yeah, we'll call them Cleveland. We're going to take the Fighting Jose Ramirez's, the Cleveland Jose Ramirez's -1.5 at Baltimore. Shane Bieber's on the mound. He's a perennial Cy Young candidate against a Bruce Zimmerman, who I've got to be honest with you, before I checked the starting matchup today, hadn't really ever heard of. He's been fine this year, but I'm going to take Shane Bieber with a Guardians team, a Cleveland team that's won 4 of their last 5, all by more than 2 runs against an Orioles team that isn't all that good. I just think there's a lot of value there with an ace going up against whoever Bruce Zimmerman is. So that is my that's my card for the day.
If you'd asked me, about Bruce Zimmerman, who do you think Bruce Zimmerman is in the world of baseball? I would have guessed.
You'd have said like a manager somewhere.
Yeah, I would have said like bench coach.
Third-rate umpire.
Yeah, it would have been bench coach, then like
Pirates pitching coach,
umpire, and then player. Like, he doesn't sound like a player. He's probably going to throw a perfect.
To his credit, like he's got an ERA in the low 4s, and he's been fine this year. Cleveland's the road team, so they get that extra at bat. They've won 4 out of 5. They beat up on bad teams this year, and they got a Cy Young candidate on the mound. So let's take them -1.5 +130.
The Guardians of the
no relation to the guy that Pedro Martinez threw down, right?
That was Don Zimmer.
Zimmer.
Yeah,
just Zimmer. God, that was an all-time weird move.
That was hilarious.
A lot of bad decisions at that moment by a lot of people.
A lot of things were happening at that moment. So, all right, then game tomorrow night, the Celtics.
Sunday.
Sunday. Drew did a pretty good job of guessing where this money line would go. We said we guessed where it would go depending on the outcome of game 1. We said we'll only get confirmation on one way. We won't ever know what would have happened the other way, but it was a pretty good guess as far as he thought it would be a little more one-sided if the Celtics were to win. And then Patrick, real quick, back to Don Zimmer. That was it. He says, that's an all-time imagine if Twitter was around moment. Oh my God. That's full. Yes. Like Twitter would have been fun for the rest of the day for sure.
The gifs and the memes you'd have gotten from that moment.
Right. What would have Pedro Martinez been throwing down? What would they have put Zimmer in, like floating around? There would have been one of those videos of him flying into space or something.
Yeah. Missed opportunity.
Lots to miss. I feel like we need to grab some of that now.
Maybe we can have like redo history days. Let's all pretend like that happened today.
Yeah,
the internet can have something to do on a Tuesday.
We need to do that throughout the summer when there's nothing going
Add that to Elon Musk's list.
I'm gonna add that for sure. No bets yet Sunday for you, but we'll take a look at this series price, and it is -170, +140. I don't know. Do you have a thought on how this game goes? Celtics look kind of bad for a while, but really the Dubs were shooting well, and maybe that's sustainable because they kind of have those kind of shooters who could keep that up for 4 or 5 games. But if they don't, man, Celtics could kind of truck them at home.
Yeah, kudos to Drew for hitting the nail on the head with the series price. And it makes sense, right? The Celtics didn't only just win, they captured home court advantage. So that's why the adjustment's bigger for them winning than it would necessarily be if Golden State won. And as I look at the game 1 in general, Golden State had a pretty solid game. I don't necessarily know offensively what they can do better. They shot 42% from 3 on 45 3-point attempts. Now, they only shot 15 free throws. Maybe pick up a couple more of those. They didn't turn the ball over. 14 turnovers. Again, maybe you can turn that down. But all the concern that I had about Golden State last night, and it was obvious in the first quarter, a lot of standing around on defense. I didn't see a level of energy, especially in that first quarter. I mean, Golden State seemed to be happy to be up by 5 to 6 points when I think they really could have come out and put up like a 10, 15-point lead at some point early in the first half and maybe put this Celtics team away, especially with how good they are in third quarters. But I wonder what they're relying a little much on being at home. Again, that third quarter advantage. Boston looked great. I thought that they would look great in the series. I mean, I'm super happy. I got some Celtics series in my pocket. Celtics -1.5 games. They seem like the more talented team. It was a good night for Al Horford. All things are looking solid. So, of course, that can't go wrong. But I think the Warriors look solid the second game. I think we'll see a lot of the same stuff from them defensively. I think the look for me will end up being an under. Of course, I'll post that on BetSpur. It's just Alex Christensen there. But I think I'll end up with an under at some point. As I look at that game, we got our over pretty comfortably, 128 points. But The pace was right around 94, which I think is kind of what I expected. It might even be a little bit slower. Again, I think Golden State's going to look at that game and really try to tie things down defensively, try to find ways to slow down Boston and not leave so many just honestly open shooters as they had. I mean, again, Boston shoots 50% from the field and 50% from three. It was kind of a nutty game there. So we'll probably end up with an under in the second game, but you have to feel really bad as a Golden State fan to, I mean, not only have lost that game, but to have lost it by 12 points.
Yeah. I was happy to get the 3.5 home. Felt bad not having the money line. I felt bad not having the money line because they were down by $1 trillion in the third quarter. And I said, oh man, I wish I'd just taken the money line that I didn't lay any juice. I'd have just lost the unit instead of 1.1. And then we got to the end of the game, like, I wish I had the money line so I had more money. But I'll be looking forward to that one on Sunday for sure. Hopefully golf. One of my outrights has like a 10-stroke lead. I can just kind of slide into the evening, not worry about things and roll. And this tennis match is still drunk. It is 5-5, 30-15. We are now sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 breaks of serve. Rafa has 5 points, 5 games. Only one was won off his racket of serve. So drunk as shit. Hopefully we can get to another tiebreak. God, I'd love to see another tiebreak here. And yes, over bettors are going to lose in the worst possible way here. It's going to be 4-all. I'm trying to think of right where it would be. So if we had 26 and then you add 8 to that, you're at 34. And then Rafa breaking there and winning 6-4 would turn it into a 36-game match. Ish. I'm not even gonna think
It's
about
hurting
it.
my brain.
Yeah, tennis math is.
You're hurting my brain here.
Is the worst math. I want you to go home and try to figure out how you get 11 games in one set.
Let's go ahead and teach your kids math. Get them in there.
Maybe we'll have another YouTube video of math class with Andy.
Honestly, you could do some tennis math videos. That wouldn't be the worst thing. There's so much going on there. So, all right, well, shitload of picks for you today. If you missed some of that, rewind. If you rewind, hit the thumbs up while it's happening. And we'll check y'all. Have a good weekend. Thanks, Matt, Alex, producer Dan, BetSperts, FanDuel, Prop Swap, Profit Exchange, my parents, the Academy, the audience, you guys, YouTube, and
who else
see you Monday.
Got?
That's it. I think.